Hey friends, David here. This is a really hard video to make, and I never thought I would actually be making this video, but I'm here to say that after nearly a decade of weekly videos and 500 episodes in total, the Mandolin Mondays series here on the channel is coming to an end. And it is so surreal to say that out loud because Mandolin Mondays has been such a huge part of my life for so long now, and I know chances are if you're watching this, then it's been a part of yours in some way too. It's hard to even remember what Mondays were like before this series started. And I know I haven't really talked a lot about Mandolin Mondays here on the channel. It's just been kind of a silent partner all these years as I've done other videos and different projects here on YouTube. So today I want to change that and take a few minutes to celebrate the series, to reflect on the journey, share some behind the scenes stories, and explain how I've come to make this tough decision. Also, I just want to reassure you that the channel's not going anywhere. In fact, I'm really excited to be redoubling my efforts to share even more mandolin content in the months and years ahead. So more on that in a bit. But first, let's rewind to where it all started. And for me, my whole experience with YouTube started with Mandolin Mondays. If you'll go back with me to young David, 2015, I had just graduated with a music degree and decided to move to Nashville with the naive hopes of making it big as a mandolinist in Music City. And when I got there without any music connections or prospects for gigs, I ended up having to work in a sandwich shop part-time to make ends meet. And it was kind of a depressing period of my life, maybe a rite of passage that most musicians have to go through, but I still really wanted to make it as a mandolin player, to keep getting better and have more opportunities to play, but I needed an outlet, something to ground my practice routine around and to inspire me to keep growing. And around that same time, I met this great guy named Darian Stansberry, a talented filmmaker at the church that I was going to. And he kept coming up to me and joking, saying, "Man, you should make more videos with your mandolin. You could call it Mandolin Mondays and post every week." And it kind of sowed a seed in the back of my mind. So come New Year's Eve 2015, I was looking at another year of just making sandwiches, and I decided, let's make a New Year's resolution and try out this Mandolin Mondays thing. Post a video every week on Monday, just me and my mandolin and whatever I could come up with that week. And the very first video that I did was kind of my frenetic take on the Byron Berline tune, Huckleberry Hornpipe. And I posted the video on January 6th, 2016, right here on YouTube. And then I shared that video in my blog over on themandolincafe.com. And honestly, I never expected anyone to actually look at these videos. I was more of a personal challenge to keep practicing and getting better. But within a couple weeks, Scott Tishner, the manager and owner of the Mandolin Cafe website, he got behind it. He sent me a message saying that he wanted to reshare these posts to the homepage every week. And then all of a sudden, the pressure was really on. And having that kind of accountability really pushed me like never before. Every week I felt this motivation to try to top what I did the week before, experimenting with new arrangements, trying new styles, just pushing to stretch myself musically. And I think honestly that first year doing these videos was the biggest period of musical growth that I've ever experienced. It's funny, I remember Matt Flinner actually asked me to house sit for him for a few weeks that summer while I was doing these videos. I basically locked myself away in his house with his spare instruments for about a month, just coming up with new arrangements, new videos, and practicing all day. And I learned so much about filmmaking and recording that year too. My setup back then was so humble. I just had an old MacBook Pro, and I used the webcam to capture the video, and then I plugged in one of those Zoom H4n recording mic things for the audio, and I would just record everything straight into iMovie, just solid passes all the way through. Couldn't even do much editing or comping on a program like that, so you should see the amount of takes I would have to do on some of these arrangements to get one passable playthrough. And some of my favorite videos from that time were my take on the Gray Eagle Texas fiddle tune, super fun multiple part fiddle tune, and then also the Brazilian choro tune Brasileiro. I really enjoyed that one. And then maybe the crowning jewel of the whole year was figuring out how to condense John Williams' film score for Star Wars just on the mandolin here for a Star Wars medley. And also a few collaborations that I was able to do at the Swanano Gathering with a few mandolin heroes like John Reichman and Matt Flinner and Don Sternberg. Looking back, you can really see how those videos were starting to shape the path that I'm on right now. And it's hard to believe now, but I actually made it through that first year on my own without missing a Monday. But after 52 straight weeks of videos like that, I was feeling pretty burnt out, and I was thinking about hanging up the whole series back then because there were some big life changes coming up for me back then too. I was just asked to join this great bluegrass band called Mile 12 up in Boston, and I was getting ready to move up there to start hitting the road pretty hard, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to keep that weekly output up while we were touring full time. But it was around that time I just so happened to have a conversation with Joe K. Walsh, who you all probably know here. He's an incredibly talented mandolin player, and I was explaining to him how I was thinking about ending Mandolin Mondays, and I had this big life change coming up, all that, and he just suggested something that totally changed everything for me. He said, why don't you just get other mandolin players to send in videos instead? And that set me off on this journey here. Sure enough, I reached out to a few friends, and they were into it, and Joe ended up being my very first guest on Mandolin Mondays at the beginning of 2017. And pretty soon I was getting videos from players all around the world, from folks that I knew and some from complete strangers that I'd never heard of, but were incredibly talented mandolin players. And week by week, Mandolin Mondays kind of transformed into this living, breathing patchwork of styles and traditions and personalities. And it really became a showcase for what this instrument could do. And also became a platform to feature both the well-known and the unknown talents of this instrument. And what honestly kept it going was that it wasn't just me anymore, it was something that belonged to the whole mandolin community. That being said, there definitely were some weeks where it was a scramble to find a video in time to post. I spent so many hours scouring the internet for new players to feature and sending emails and follow-up emails, and just apologies to any mandolin player who was on the receiving end of that. I hope I didn't annoy or offend anyone. And yet still, Sunday nights were an often stressful time in the Benedict household, just down to the wire, biting my nails, waiting for a video to come in time to post that next day. And if nothing came, then often I'd stay up till 4 a.m. that night, coming up with an arrangement myself to film and post for our usual 8 a.m. deadline. But all that to say, I am just so grateful. I'll never take for granted the generosity of all the guests who did send in videos, because there was no real incentive to participate. It was a lot of work, and there's no benefit other than the outlet of Mandolin Mondays itself. Yet so many players, they just caught the creative vision of the project, the push to come up with something new and to share it with other people. And so many people wanted to be a part of it, which I'm incredibly thankful for. And that's what's been happening for the past decade or so. And honestly, I never planned for the series to go on this long, and there are many times I thought about stopping for good, but every Monday there's a new video to share, and here we are. But as we've approached this 500th episode milestone, I started to realize that the series has done everything that I ever hoped it could have accomplished, and 10 times more. Over the years, so many of my mandolin heroes have kindly sent in videos, some more than once. You know, we have folks like Adam Steffi on the series, Sierra Hull, Mike Compton, Mike Marshall, Katarina Lichtenberg, Don Sternberg, Chris Thiele. You know, even this past week, the David Grissman sent me an email out of the blue saying how much he'd enjoyed the series over the years and asking if I could squeeze him in before the 500th episode here. And of course, I had to say yes. It's just mind-blowing that this little series could have reached so many amazing artists. And on top of that, there have been some even bigger life changes recently that have made me step back and rethink pretty much everything. The biggest change being, of course, that me and my wife Tabitha recently became parents, which has been humbling and exhausting and incredible all in one. And somewhere between the nap schedules and the diaper changes, I've realized that we need some more space in our lives to rest and to reset and to think about what these next creative steps might be in this new chapter. And we realized that one of those creative steps is our band, the Foreign Landers. Tabitha and I started the group a few years back, and it's slowly becoming more of a main focus for us. And somehow, over the past year and a half, 2 years, amongst all the baby prep and other gigs that we were doing, we somehow managed to finish recording a new album of songs that we're really proud of, and we're excited to be sharing that music soon. And we've realized we really want to focus on making more music together as a family, and whether that looks like touring or working on more recording projects that we're already scheming up, we'll see. And another big creative step that I want to focus on is this YouTube channel here. And I'm sure some of you found me here on YouTube through the Mandolin Mondays series, and you've seen how the channel has shifted a bit over the years, especially during the pandemic when everything kind of came to a halt. I was actually isolating in place over in Northern Ireland at the time with Tabitha and her family. And Tabitha just so happened to have bought a little Sony mirrorless camera, and with all this newfound free time that we had at home, I figured I'd try messing with it as well. And It started small, just posting these little lesson videos here on the channel about technique tips or tune breakdowns, just little things that I hoped would help people feel like they could still progress while stuck at home. And to my surprise, these videos actually started to connect with people. And over the past few years, it's grown into my main focus as a creative and professional, which is kind of strange to say out loud. But as I've become more confident in filmmaking, it's become a passion of mine. I see this amazing opportunity to get to share what I love about the mandolin and about the mandolin community through high quality and engaging videos, and hopefully be able to reach a wider audience and welcome more people into the fold. And especially over the past couple of years, hopefully you can see evidence of that passion as we continue to increase the quality of the content here on the channel through more engaging lesson videos, through behind the scenes vlogs, through meaningful collaborations with amazing mandolin players, and even small scale documentaries that we've been doing here to share a broader, richer picture of what this instrument is capable of. And I feel like I'm just getting started. There's so many ideas that I have that I'm excited to explore here on the channel. I hope you'll follow along on this journey as well. And all of that is something that I never could have imagined when I first started doing YouTube videos nearly 10 years ago. I mean, who gets to make a living making mandolin videos and posting them on the internet? It's crazy, and I don't want to take that for granted because I know it's all thanks to folks like yourselves and the support of so many people who've come alongside me over the years, and for that I'm truly thankful. So, all that to say, after 500 weeks, this feels like the right moment in time to bring the Mandolin Mondays chapter to a close, to fully celebrate this amazing milestone while it's still something that I'm really, really proud of, and to make space for what's to come. But Mandolin Mondays will always be here on the channel. In fact, you can check out this playlist up here in the cards above to watch all 500 episodes in consecutive order, which is a very lengthy endeavor. And while I don't envision Mandolin Mondays continuing on in any official way, I do hope that those 500 videos will continue to serve as a creative inspiration for other mandolin players to create and to connect and to keep mandolin content alive in exciting ways. All right, before I wrap up this very wordy video, there's a few heartfelt thank yous that I have to say. First and foremost to my amazing wife, Tabitha. Thank you for putting up with all those stressful late Sunday nights, getting these videos ready to post, and for always encouraging me to keep going, even when I felt like I didn't have another video left in me. Also wanted to thank my friend Darian, who I mentioned earlier. Man, my life looks so different just because you took the time to come up to me and hang out and just give me these ideas that changed my life in ways that you can't even imagine. So thank you very much. Also wanted to thank my good friend Jacob Mathis, who's a talented artist and mandolin player himself. And you were so kind to volunteer to come up with the thumbnails for these videos and for teaching me Photoshop and allowing me to do what I do today. Thank you so much. And I also wanted to thank Scott Tishner over at the Mandolin Cafe. Scott, you are an inspiration, just the way that you create space for us mandolin players to connect and be creative and encourage each other. I aspire to what you do, and thank you so much for your support of me and the series, just how you got behind it from a very early stage and saw the vision so clearly. I wouldn't be doing what I do now without you. But I also just have to, again, thank all the guest artists who trusted me with their music and very generously gave their time and talent to the series. And most of all to the pickers and the listeners and the fans who tuned in week after week so loyally, who left comments, kind comments that encouraged me to keep going, and folks who shared these videos with your friends and your families and your students. You all really made this possible. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, that's the big news, and it is bittersweet, but I'm mostly feeling grateful, grateful to have had this journey and to still be on it as well, to still be able to create videos and share my music with you all here. And speaking of which, if you'd like to learn some of my own arrangements for the Mandolin Mondays series over the years, you can check it out over at this Mandolin Mondays transcription collection on my Patreon page. And this is totally free. It's available to free members and everyone over on that page. And it's hundreds and hundreds of pages of tab and notation transcriptions of some of the stuff that I came up with for the series over the years. And I hope that you'll check it out, and I hope that you'll stick around here for this next video where I go through some of my favorite submissions to the Mandolin Monday series over the years, just a way of celebrating some of the incredible players that have contributed. And yeah, I'll see you there. Happy picking.